We officially know the full on-disc roster for WWE 2K25 with some pretty fire new additions. When it comes to new or returning superstars, aka superstars that were not in WWE 2K24, you've got the likes of Arthur, you've got Arthur as a manager, you've got Akam and Razor, which is very funny, considering that those two along with Paul Ellering just got released, so enjoy them while it lasts. You've got Andrade back in the game, you've got Armando Estrada, Alundra Blaze, Ava Rain made it as well, which is cool. In the Deadman edition, you've got Brother Love, you've got people like Eddie Thorpe and Charlie Dempsey, Elektra Lopez, who just got released as well, but she's in the game. And as you guys may know, I'm a big NXT head, okay? It's my favorite brand of all time. I will scream from the rooftops all day about the golden era of NXT, Game Show NXT, hell. You've seen the videos I've made on Game Show NXT before. That show is hilarious. It's bad, but it's hilarious. I mean, entertainment value is all that matters, and this era of NXT right now has entertainment value with people like Charlie Dempsey and Eddie Thorpe. And so it's safe to say that I'm very excited to see Baby Regal in the game. Yeah, we will be there. We've also got Ethan Page, who I showed off in the gameplay I captured when I played the game earlier a couple weeks ago. He looks fantastic and he is super fun to play as. You've got Haku, you've got Head Shrinker Fatu, Head Shrinker Samu. By the way, Triple H, why the fuck did you release Isla Dawn? You said, oh, she's gonna make the game. Big fucking deal. You've got Jacob Fatu, who is another fun one to play as. You've got Jada Parker. Good Lord Almighty. How would I describe my excitement that Jada Parker is gonna be in the game? How do I feel about Jada Parker?
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah, man.
Also, I know absolutely everyone on the timeline was like, are Metaphor confirmed? Yes, they are, and it is fantastic. I'm very excited to see their entrance in the game because all four of them are in the game. You've got Jamal, you've got Javon Evans, by the way. And for as much as you can go ahead and criticize this roster reveal for not having this person or this person or this person's on DLC, whatever, the fact that Javon Evans made it is a big W. His moveset is going to be ridiculous. I can't wait to play as him. I'm very excited about that. Kalani Jordan, of course, who is another one that we've already seen and is super fun to play as. Kiana James made it. Big fan of Kiana James. Lexus King, Lola Vice, as we saw already in the Underground teaser. We already saw a little snippet of her. Mr. Fuji, Naomi is back in these games. Nick Aldis, Obafemi, Aura Mensa, Paul Ellering, Peter Maivia, Razor, Rosie, Sean Spears is back in the game, of course, previously Ty Dillinger. And you know how in WWE 2K games, you always have someone in your universe mode who in real life isn't really being pushed that much, but in your universe mode, they're like a god, and you've booked them to be like John Cena level of like perfect. I feel like Sean Spears is going to be that guy for a lot of people this year. I can see it, okay? The chairman is going to do his thing. You've got Sika Sol Ruka, who I showed off as well, who is absolutely one of the best people in this game. Like new people, old people, doesn't matter. She is so much fun to play as. Tama Tonga, Tatum Paxley, and finally, the almighty, the one, the only, the infamous Tonga Loa. And by the way, in case you didn't know, there's going to be over 300 superstars in this game, and I find that insane. And I don't know about you, right, but like for as cool as it is to have over 300 superstars in the game, as for as cool as that is of a tagline, I don't usually play as all 300 people or however many people we've got to in the past, so it's cool, you know. I'm happy if you do that, but I'm not that person. It's pretty cool to see that many people on the roster, you know, and it's great that one thing that these games used to fail at a lot of the time is getting a lot of women on the game as well. Like I'm sure you all remember WWE 2K15's super small women's roster or WWE 13's super small women's roster. It's great to see that there's more equality across both genders now in this game and across all different rosters as well. NXT has got a super great amount of representation in this game, and it'll only build through DLCs. So I'm glad it's more equal this year. I'm glad it's getting more equal as the games continue on. I'm just not going to play as all 300 people. I'm just not. Sorry. We also got confirmation of a variety of new GMs in this year's game with the likes of Ava Rain, Nick Aldis, Shawn Michaels, Sensational Sherry, Miss Elizabeth, Armando Estrada, Mr. Fuji, CM and then you've also got the usual ones you could play as in years past, like you know, your created character or Teddy Long or Paul Heyman, William Regal, etc. And my GM this year is obviously going to be online, so the more support and attention that mode can get, the better in my opinion, so I can't complain. But overall, I like this roster, okay? It's got a lot of strong additions and people, most importantly, that I can see myself playing as. Because I don't think it would have done this roster any favors if it would have just been a ton of, and I mean this as respectfully as it possibly can be, but just for me, knowing how I play, who I play with, I much prefer seeing more NXT representation than them going ahead and saying, here's every Samoan legend that's ever laced up a pair of boots, because there is a lot of Samoan representation, and granted, it makes sense because of the Bloodline showcase, but I'm just happy that we've not only got the Samoans, but we've also got NXT as well, and we've got all these people that I'm actually going to use with all due respect. But is it enough to justify you buying the game? I'm actually going to say yes. But not solely because of the roster. I'd say given what I played a few weeks ago, the new gameplay changes and features are a far stronger contender to justify your money spent this year than the roster itself. Like, I'm not going to go ahead and go through every new thing that's in the game. You know, I'm sure you know about a lot of the new gameplay features and stuff, but whether it's the underground match and seeing the interactive like nature of that, or it's the chain wrestling is a huge one, and it's probably one of my favorite things that they've added so far that we know about. You've got, for example, the movable camera during the entrances. It feels like this year there's a lot more quality of life improvements that I, as the player I am, actually care about and actually wanted in the game. So based on my personal recommendations and knowing that there's a lot of players out there like me that like these little things, these little changes that are going to add to the overall experience, I think this is a very strong contender of a game. Obviously, we've still got a little bit to go before the release this time next month, but so far, I'm pretty happy with a lot of the things I've seen, to be honest. Although I will say, Bobby Roode missing his first game since 2K18, that is absolutely not and I would go ahead and say I'm shocked that Baron Corbin made the game after his release last year, but it's hard to miss a bald head like that, so oh my gosh. I'm also not wild about the pre-order bonus being the Wyatt 6. It feels like they really should have just been on the game considering their previous versions have been in before, but I honestly don't know what other direction they could have gone in. You could argue that given the Samoan nature of this game with the island and everything, you could have done the Samoan pre-order bonuses like Jacob Fatu, but who knows if that really would have been successful. And I also have yet to comment on the island, which was revealed since the last time I spoke about 2K25 on the channel, but here comes the money! Here we go. Yeah.
It took my breath away.
Yeah, listen, man, I don't know. I saw what it did to NBA 2K. Like, I'm a big player of those games, and I was an even bigger one pre all these new modern micro transaction changes, and I thought visually, yeah, the island looks cool, and like visually the city was pretty cool, but eventually so many microtransactions ruin games. It doesn't matter if it's a sports game or not. Eventually, too many microtransactions on a game that I'm paying full price for anyway as a consumer is just too much, and it just gets to a point where you're like, this is fucking ridiculous. And especially after they announced that a lot of cosmetics will need to be earned through the island, it feels like year after year they keep missing the point of this game and what keeps people playing for so long. It's not because the majority of people love grinding my faction to get new stuff, because the majority don't. It's not because online is super smooth and has replay value, because it doesn't. And while I want to go ahead and believe that because of the addition of the island and everything, 50 people online at once on one server, that maybe things have improved to a stability point where it can handle that and it's actually pretty smooth, I'll wait until I see it, because I know WWE games online, and I know it's not exactly the biggest pull for these games. It's not why people are buying, you know, NBA 2K. You're buying a lot of the time to play online, to play My Park and stuff like that. But with wrestling games, a lot of the draw, a lot of the time, has been the creativity that you as a player can do without having to play with other people. And so you go ahead and turn everything to online when you have a track history and a track record of not having a great online server run. It's a little bit concerning. But hey, maybe because it's only on the PS5 and Xbox Series X, it'll run a little bit better, okay? Maybe that's why they made that decision, because the PS4 and the Xbox One came out like when the dinosaurs came out, so maybe it's time to move on, and I'm glad they are. Sorry. You know, I'm not a scientist, but I'm pretty sure Tyrannosaurus Rex was playing on the PlayStation 4. That's actually why the PS4 sounds like that, why it's like that's that. It's a fucking dinosaur, literally a dinosaur. And so maybe I've got to go ahead and give them the benefit of the doubt when it comes to online this year, when it comes to the island, but I've got to go ahead and say it's the creativity that these games give you. I said as much in a tweet the other day, and a lot of you agreed with me. Community creations is the heart and soul of WWE 2K. And without community creations, you're sure as hell are not playing this game all year round. And you want to know how I know that fact? Because there was a game that came out not too long ago, a wrestling game, that completely misunderstood that point and paid the price. We tried to tell him. We really did. We tried to tell him. I don't know. So yeah, man, it feels like slowly but surely they're doing more and more that hurts community creations, and I don't like that. I'm sorry. I feel like it almost comes across, to be fully transparent with you, as a little bit cheeky. It comes across a little bit cheeky. Like, I can understand maybe if the higher ups above the devs are like, well, we want to make even more profit out of this game, so things like My Faction, we've seen what it does for NBA over here, and we want to push My Faction on the island, and maybe that's where the pressure is coming from. That I would understand, because then it's semi out of their control. But if this is in their control and this is a choice that they're making collaboratively, because year after year, whether it's going after the modders that keep these games alive, the same modders that kept these games alive through 2K20's disaster, kept 2K19 updated with consistent content like they were never going to do, whether it's banning status from uploading My Faction content, which should have been available to anyone in the first place. It should have been available across all modes, like they finally made that change in 2K24, but that should have always been the case. And again, maybe to go ahead and play devil's advocate, the reason it was locked behind My Faction is because they wanted to push more traffic towards My Faction and get that mode a little bit more popping. But again, when you go ahead and say, oh, this model of like Seth Rollins, which we all want, or like this model of like Charlotte or Sammy or whoever is locked behind My Faction and we can't move it to another mode, it's kind of annoying, because why am I going to go ahead and unlock it just to keep it in My Faction? I don't really care about My Faction as much as I care about the other modes. So yeah, too long didn't read. What I'm essentially trying to go ahead and say is, I really hope these games aren't trying to slowly phase out community creations, because I think that would be like putting the death nail in this franchise. And it feels like year after year, you're doing more and more to damage the creative side of these games, and it's a little bit frustrating. Like, I'm not even just talking about modders, because I've said it before and I'll say it again. If the mods that were being uploaded and, you know, finagled through the community creation system and it was breaking the game, then yes, you have every right to go ahead and save your game from being broken for the players who have no interest in it being broken because of something they're not going to use. That much I understand. But when you go ahead and fully go after modders and you know, you're attacking the modding scene based on stuff that they're doing, which isn't really harming the game and it's only adding to it, and then you're going ahead and saying, hey, here's the island and you've got to play the island just to get all these cosmetics that should be available already to everyone or just unlockable within the base game, then yeah, it's kind of bullshit. I'm sorry. Anyway, let's go ahead and wrap up that rant, put a pin in it for a second, and talk about potential DLC for 2K25. You've got the likes of Penta, Zarya, Julia, Stephanie Vaquer, Motor City Machine Guns. I'd say that they are all locks to be DLC. I think Penta just about makes the cut. You've got the likes of Ricky Starks, Jordan Grace, Carmen Petrovic, OTM, Danny Palmer, Izzy Dame. I think Jordan Grace absolutely makes the cutoff for the game for DLC, but Ricky Starks,
the revolution is televised.
Unfortunately. I think the only way Ricky makes DLC is if they got started on that shit immediately when he walked out. They were like, oh shit, okay, he's here. And everyone in the 2K office is like, wait, what? Who's here? He's here. Him. Some guys sat there on his laptop like, what? Like Carmelo Hayes? Him? Like, he's already in the game. No, what? You dumb motherfucker. He's here. All right, somebody has a lot of explaining to do. I'm getting absolutely pissed off here. The guys are like, yes, you get it. Absolute. I fucking hate working here, dog. This place sucks. The likes of Adriana Rizzo and a few others are potential DLC shouts too. I also wanted to go ahead and take a look at the timeline for a second to see what people were thinking about 2K25's roster reveal. Any news on the ring announcers? Is Lillian Garcia going to be added to the game? It's about the ones who wrestle, not the ones who announce them. Damn, relax, brother. Damn. This dude straight up said, if you ain't taking a bump, I don't give a fuck. No Great Khali, no Goldberg, no Ronda Rousey. Ronda's been gone since 2023. Oh my God, no Great Khali. Ah, fuck, damn it. No. What am I gonna do? How's my universe mode gonna survive without the Great Khali and fucking Goldberg? I also saw a lot of people saying, oh, no Brock Lesnar, no Brock Lesnar. Where's Brock Lesnar? Are you guys living under a rock like Patrick Star Wars?